All right, so this is probably my sixth time trying to record this video, but I'm hoping it's gonna come out fine compared to the others. Now, what we're doing here today is a strip foundation. For those of you who weren't present in class the last time when we did it, I'm gonna just run through everything from scratch. And wherever I stopped the last time, I'm gonna for those of you wherever you've stopped, we're gonna continue from there and complete the entire drawing where we'll do dimensions as you see here in the one that I finished previously. So what you need first is your floor plan, an outline of your floor plan with the interior walls. Doors and windows aren't necessary. All you need is the perimeter and the center of the internal walls. As you see, I have lined up here. So all I'm gonna do is highlight the centers because that's all what I'm gonna need for the drawing. The center lines within the walls. And then bring it across within another area. So it's gonna look something like this. All right. Extend lines where they need to be extended. So for example, on these two ends over here. And for this section right here, I'm gonna bring it out a bit just so it could connect with those outer lines. So as you can see, the center lines is basically mimics the floor plan with the exception of this extra support within the center of the living room space. All right. So similar to the pad foundation, the center lines, you follow the same thing like the pad foundation. The only thing is that you would not be having columns, you'll be having strip walls instead. Now, just to explain things a little bit more, this is what a typical strip foundation looks like versus a regular pad foundation. So as you know, the pad foundation has a footing and a column erecting from the footing, whereas the strip foundation has a footing. It's not placed within blocks like this here. It's a continuous footing, all right, with a wall erected on top of it. So it's similar to having a building basically. It's almost similar to what the building wall looks like, but just with a footing at the bottom. So moving on back to this drawing here. Seeing that we have our center lines within the center, we're going to select all these lines here and create them into the foundation center line. Now, as you can see, I've created my layers for my foundation already, which I named foundation center line, foundation footing, and foundation wall. I advise that you make these before you before you continue this tutorial, basically. So you have the center lines, and this perimeter line here will not be a part of the center line because it's not a center of the wall here. Okay, I'll get to that just now. So let's make sure that all these lines here are represented as a yellow line or the center line. And from there, what we're going to do is create our foundation wall thickness within the foundation area. Okay, so we're going to switch our layer to foundation wall. And from there, what we're going to do is create little rectangles within each space. Yeah, all right. So again, select foundation wall, rectangle. All right. So all I need to do is select one area, bring across the next, repeat rectangle, and do that for all the spaces that you see in between there. All right. And seeing that the foundation wall thickness in this case is 200 millimeters. All right. What we're going to do is offset 100 millimeters on both sides. So we're going to offset 100, enter. Select each rectangle and offset inside of the space, not outside. Okay. So you're going to offset inside the space. All right. And from there, we're going to remove all these red lines which intersect with the center lines. So select and delete, select and delete again. Select, delete, select, delete. All right. Make sure that you're removing the red lines and not the yellow lines. So that's why we're selecting and deleting each one by itself. Okay. So as you can see, we have the red lines representing the thickness of our foundation wall, the yellow line representing the center of the foundation wall. And what you're going to realize is when you measure the internal walls, it's going to be 200 millimeters, which is what you want. But if you were to measure the perimeter, it's 100. Now what we need is 200 millimeter thickness at the perimeter as well. So what we're going to do is select trim, right click, and remove all the thicknesses around the perimeter which measure 100 millimeters. All right. And then we're going to offset 200 millimeters. When you offset 200 at the perimeter. And once you've done that, you're going to trim the excess lines, not the center lines, the red lines which represent the wall. Okay. And we're also going to remove the gaps in between here as well. You're going to see why in a moment. So all the spaces in between here, you're going to remove one by one. Okay. Now once that's finished, what you're going to do is select all the white lines, the perimeter, and the line that you offset at 200 millimeters. You're going to select everything here and change the color into the foundation wall, which is red. Okay. All right. Now we have the thickness of our perimeter, which is the perimeter of our foundation, which is 200, and also the internal part, which is 200 as well. Now what we need is to represent or to place the center line within the perimeter as well, or the external foundation wall. So seeing that the thickness of our wall is 200 millimeters, we then have to offset from the perimeter inwards 100 millimeters to find the center of the external foundation wall. So you select offset, type in 100, enter, select, bring it in, cancel, select the entire, well, select the new center line. And we're going to convert the layer into foundation center line, which is yellow. From there, we're going to trim the excess lines. All right. And then we're going to move on to the foundation footing. Now, as said earlier, the foundation wall is basically the red section here. Now, because we're looking at it from a plan view, it means that what we're seeing is the view from the top of the foundation and not the side. So if I was to draw center line in the middle of it, this is where it's going to fall. So the yellow represents the center of the wall, and the red basically is the wall itself. What you're viewing is the foundation from the top view and not the side view. So we've just completed the foundation wall, as you see. Now we're going to move on to the footing. Okay, so if you were to measure the distance of the foundation footing, so we have the thickness of our wall, which is, well, should be 200, yeah, which is 200 millimeters. Okay, what we then have to do is offset from the wall another 200 millimeters. You have to measure offset 200 millimeters from the edge as well. Okay, here it's not drawn to scale, but we should offset 200 millimeters on both sides of the wall in order to create the thickness of our foundation footing. Okay, so coming back here, we're going to select our foundation footing layer, and just like what we did before, we're going to select the rectangular tool, and within each space inside of the foundation, we're going to create our rectangles. Now we're going to select from the area where the wall is on one side to the other. Repeat, rectangle, select from one area to the other. Repeat, rectangle, one point to the other. Repeat, rectangle. All right. Well, there are several ways to actually create strip foundation plans, but I thought this might have been the easiest. Select one area, the other. Select one area, go to the other. Like so. All right. Then remember the width of the foundation. Okay. The width from this side to this side here should be 600. Remember that? But because we have the wall here, it's going to be a bit difficult to offset from the center, so we're offsetting from the edge of the wall instead. All right, similar to what we did for the pad foundation. Instead, we had the option to either offset from the center or from the column itself. For this one, we're doing the wall. Now, from each edge, so from here, you're going to offset. From this edge, you have to offset 200 millimeters on this side. Okay. So moving back to the drawing. Offset 200, enter, and bring it inwards, not outwards. All right. And from there, the first line which we drew, the first rectangle, which is along the foundation wall, we're going to remove it. So if you look closely, you're going to realize this is orange. If you select it and we delete it, you see we can now see the wall layer. And we're going to do that for all the others. Select the orange. Select the orange. So the orange line, which was over the foundation wall, which is the red line, we're just removing it here. All right. And the next step is to create the footing on the other side. So if you realize on this section, you have our foundation footing here and here. If we were to measure the distance from here to over here, it's 600. If we were to measure from the edge of the wall to where the footing is, it's 200. But as you can see, we don't have any footing on the external part of the building. So using our perimeter line or the edge of the foundation, we're going to offset 200. Okay, and then we're going to just change the color of that layer into foundation footing layer. And that's it for the strip foundation. So just to recap, yellow represents the center of the foundation, like what you see here. The red represents the foundation wall. That's what you see over here as well, the thickness of the wall. And the orange represents the footing, which is at the bottom, the thickness of the footing. Remember, when you're looking at foundation plans, it deals with the width of the foundation, not the height. Okay, and the depth. So the dimensions on this side and this side aren't taken into consideration. We're just worrying about the top part and the side part. Well, the top part of the foundation and the wall. My bad. Okay. So moving on, we now have to dimension our plan. Now, as you can see over here, I've started dimensioning another plan, which I've done earlier on. So we're going to just mimic what we did over here to our new drawing. So you're going to create a dimension layer. Well, in my case, I created 3, so I'm going to use dimension 1. Make sure the settings are appropriate. If you're using your flow plan from last class, it should be okay. If you have any problems, feel free to message me on WhatsApp. So I'm going to annotate, select linear, then we're going to take our measurement from the center line. So from one center line to the other, okay? Then we're going to bring it up. Now, as you can see here, if you look closely, we would think that this here is our next center line we should be taking our distance at. But in actuality, the distance should be taken from this center line, which is at the bottom here. Okay? So, to make this a bit easier, you're going to select one point, bring your cursor down, hover over the line, zoom out, and then bring it up until you see that green dashed line till you meet to the point right here. So let's try it again. Again, you select one point, you hover your mouse or your cursor over the second point, and you bring it up slowly where you see the green dashed line. Okay, until you meet this point right here. And then you bring it up, offset 1000, enter. Now, if you're having problems with that, what you can basically do after doing that, you could just bring down the extension line to meet the center line, like so. Then you're going to continue taking the distance from center to center, or center line to center line, like so. If you want, you can mirror what you've done here on the other side instead of having to do it over again, or if you want to go through the whole process of drawing over your dimension lines again, you can do so as well. So again, select one point. This is my next point. Bring it down. If you look closely, you're going to realize it doesn't match up. Type of 1000. All right. If I was to bring this down, you're going to realize it doesn't line up with the center line. So all I need to do is just move it across, and then it matches up. So as you can see, the distance on this side, which is 2150, is also the same distance over here. I'm going to continue my dimensioning. This point to this point here. Enter. I'm going to do the same thing over again for both sides. Starting from this corner. Measurement from here to here. 1000, enter. Continue. Again, you're reminded that you're taking the distance from the center lines and not the wall or the footing. Repeat the same thing over on the other side. Again, stretch the extension line to meet the center line. Continue. Sorry. That one. Taking it from there. All right. And that is how you complete your dimension on all four sides. Now, from here, we're going to then create extension lines or further or extension lines and then create bubbles of one or dimension bubbles at the top to actually identify our foundations. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do is measure distance from this point here to here. Should be 500 millimeters. Okay, should be. So you come up over here and draw a line from this point, and then you're gonna measure the distance of 500 millimeters. So instead of having to do that all over again on all of them, you just create one, and then you create a circle with a diameter of 500 or 600 millimeters. In this case, I'm going to use 500 millimeters. So select circle. If you click on the arrow below here, you're going to select center of radius. And what that means is I have to select the center and then put in your radius dimension. So if in this case our diameter is 500, it means our radius is half of the diameter, which is 250 millimeters. So you type in 250, enter, select line tool. What you're going to do is place your cursor somewhere around the circumference so it can actually show you the center. Then we're going to draw a line towards our left. Then we're going to select the circle and the line and then move it towards our extension line that we just drew a while ago. Select the line that we drew in the circle and remove it. That's just so it could line up perfectly. Then from here, what we're going to do is create an all letter, basically, because as you can see over here, we've lettered a number and numbered the sides of our foundation. So on the vertical sides, we have them in alphabetical order. On the horizontal side, we have it in numerical order. All right. So for map over here, we're going to select single line text. In this case, I'm going to specify the start point. My start point would be here. And ask for the height. So be mindful, my height is horizontal, okay? the next thing I just know, which is 150. And the rotation is vertical, like so. And what I'm going to do is type in A, capital A, and then click escape. What you're going to realize is even though I typed it typed in normally, but when I escaped or entered, then escaped, it then switched rotation. So I'm going to just explain that. Now, first of all, when you're reading any text, you read it from left to right. So if you were to turn the drawing here, okay, if you were to rotate it like so, you should be able to read whatever you've done from left to right. So A would not be up here, A would be here, then B, then C, D, E. All right. If you were to read any text in your textbook, or if you're writing notes, you read from left to right. That's just how the Western world reads. Now, moving back to this drawing here, as I said, the numbering is from left to right. The lettering is from left to right. Okay. So as you can see, A starts at the bottom, B, C, D. So if you were to rotate your drawing, let's see, in this direction, it looks pretty normal as we may see. All right. Now moving on to this here. So just to recap how to do the lettering, select single line. You're going to see they ask you to specify start point. You can even check next to a cursor, or you could check below here. They give you instructions. Specify where you want to start. And then you have to specify text height. In this case, text height will be going in this direction. So that's if it's lying down. 150. Rotation is the direction it's going. So it's going upwards. So I'm going to type, but just select vertical. And then if you were to write anything, it's going to look normal, like how you see it here. But if you click away and then click escape, it's going to move in the opposite direction. Okay. So from here, we're going to select our circle, letter, and the extra line, and we're going to make copies of it. Sorry. So we're going to select the circle, the letter, and the extension line, and make copies of it. It's up to you where you want to copy it from. So if you want to copy it from this point, you can do so. If you want to copy it from, let's see, the center point, you can do so as well. I prefer to take it from the center point. If you wish to do the same, that's fine. All right. Now, if you don't want to go through the hassle of doing the entire thing again, what you can do is draw a line, okay, or find the center of the foundation. So in this case, the center would not be any of these here. You have to find a continuous line within the drawing. In this case, you can use the foundation footing or the wall because it's a continuous line. In my case, I'm going to select all of these here, and I'm going to select mirror, find the center, and then rotate it towards the opposite direction. Erase original source, no, so I'm keeping both of them. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to do the same thing for the top. Select, I'm going to mirror from this point here. Now for this one here to work, you need to ensure the angle is at a 45 degree. No. then you continue making copies. Again, select the top section, mirror from the center, continuous line, flip across. No, okay. Now from here, we're going to then label ABC 1, 2, 3. So double click. This will now be B. Double click. C. By the way, I have my cap lock on. Click D. E. Alright. Then I'm gonna double click 1. Double click 2. Double click 3. Double click 4. Double click B. Double click C. Double click D. Double click E. Double click 1. Double click 2. Alright. And the last and final part is to create your notes. So I advise you to pause here and write this down. So this here represents a mesh which will be placed on top, well, within, sorry, the footing. This here indicates the size of the block wall. This here indicates the size of the footing itself. So the 3 dimensions of the wall, it's 200 by 200 by 400. And the 3 dimensions for the footing is 225 by 600 strip. Now the length is continuous because it all depends on the length of the area itself. Okay. This here is basically the size of the block that they use. Is 8 by 8 by 8 by 8. Yeah. 8 by 8 by 16 inches. Or 200 by 200 by 400 millimeters. So again, I hope you paused and took notes. In order to do so, from here, you're gonna write down pound 160 BRC wire mesh. Go back to annotate. Make sure that your dimensions are there as highlighted. I'm gonna use I'll use multi-line text. All right. So specify corner. That means the distance. So from this corner here to here is where I want it to be. Okay. Now, usually you have to set up, in this case, what the height of the text would you'd like it to be. But in that case, if you don't know how to do that, you can also use single line text, like how you've been using it before. We're going to specify start point, specify height, which is 150. If you realize the height is rotated in a different direction, and then specify the rotation of the angle. In this case, it's horizontal, and then we're going to type in hashtag a pound 610 BRC wire. Okay. It's basically the size of wire mesh you should use for the foundation footing. We're going to move it within the center of the space. And then we're going to create a circle using the center radius. Select the center, bring it out. We're going to type in 500 for the radius. So that means that the diameter is 1000. We're going to move it out a bit lower towards the text. And then we're going to select hatch, select a grid pattern like this here, and fill it within the space. Now, if you see, it's like a solid color. You then have to change the scale. So let's try 300. As you can see the spaces in between the mesh. It's still too small, so we're going to try 500. About 700. Okay, that looks a bit better. And as you can see, it's rotated at a 45-degree angle. Like what you see over here, it's vertical and horizontal. So what you need to do, because this is the original hatch, it's at a 45-degree, we have to change the angle. But we have to rotate it an extra 45-degree to our right. So within the angle space, okay, we're going to change it to 45, enter. Oops. What I just do. Okay. Remove. Let's try it again. So I hatched the wrong area. So go back to hatch, make sure it's the same. If you realize nothing has changed, all we're doing is placing the hatch within the circle instead of the outer area. Close hatch creation. Then we're going to move on to these two portions here. So back to annotate, multi-leader, which is over here. We're going to select the wall, not the center line, the wall. You can make that arrow as long as you want or how short as you want. And then you're going to type in the dimensions, so 200 millimeters by 200 millimeters by 400 millimeters, RC block wall TYP. So 200 millimeters by 200 millimeters by 400 meters. Space, because we don't want our text to be running outside. RC, which is reinforced concrete block wall. RC block wall. And in brackets, you put TYP, which is typical, or it means throughout the entire drawing like that. Once that is done, you click. All right. And then you're going to do the same thing for this here. Wow. As you can see here, I labeled the wrong thing. This here should be against the orange line and not the red line. So this one is a strip footing, so it's 225 millimeters by 600 millimeters strip footing, TYP. So we're going to come back here, select multi-leader. Again, doesn't matter which part of the foundation, wall or footing you select. I'm going to select from this point to 25 millimeters by 600. Sorry, 600 millimeters. Strip footing, TYP. I'm going to go back a bit. TYP, close bracket. All right. Now once that is done, you're basically finished with your strip foundation plan. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create this into a PDF file, attach it to, well, then I'm gonna attach it to your emails and send it for you along with the link, which you'll currently have to view this video. Okay? So enjoy the rest of your day. Any questions, feel free to message me. Alright? I'm gonna extend the deadline date for this drawing till the Monday after the exam. So I believe the exam is this Friday. I believe it's this Friday or next Friday. I'm not too sure. But I'm gonna tell you all the deadline for this drawing here because it wouldn't be fair for y'all to submit this. It wouldn't be fair for y'all to submit this on the same day of exam because I gave y'all this video late. Alright? So I hope y'all work towards the deadline. No, I will not be tolerating any work after the deadline because as you can see, this is an extended deadline I'm giving you. Alright. Ladies, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.